Instructional design. What is it? Let's get right to it. You may be wondering what exactly an instructional designer is, what they do, and what services they can provide for you. Well, I'm here to let you know that instructional design as a whole is a systematic approach for the delivery of an effective and engaging learning atmosphere for all of your learners. Think of an instructional designer as the master chef of your education. Just like how a chef whips up delicious delicacies, that's what an instructional designer does for the education of your learners. So, stay with me and let's dig a little deeper. For starters, what exactly does an instructional designer do? What an instructional designer does is they collaborate with stakeholders and subject matter experts to fully determine that all of the learners' objectives are being met. And this can include making sure that all of the learners have the appropriate tools that they need for their instruction, along with, is the overall design, is it engaging? Is it interesting? And is it accessible for your learners? That's something else that an instructional designer helps you with. Another common question in the realm of instructional design is, why should you hire one whenever you already know what your learners need to know and you already have the training designed for them? Think of your instructional designer as your own personal superhero for all of your training needs and all of the programs that they serve. They make sure that the learning is effective, they make sure that the learning is engaging and tailored to all of the learners' needs. You may be wondering, how exactly does instructional design work? We already know what instructional design is and what the designer can provide, but how does the whole process work? So, let's talk about that. Instructional design is like preparing a delicious educational feast. The designer is the chef, and the learners, they're your diners. Several different aspects that the designer takes into consideration. First, the instructional designer gets to know who exactly they are designing the training for, and that would be the learners. And then they also take into account what needs to be taught, and that would be the content. It's like figuring who's coming to dinner and then deciding what's going to be on the menu. It's a win-win for you and your learners. Very similar to planning a roadmap, well, the designer also has several different planning guides to follow by as well. And think of those plans as outlines. And what those outlines do is they determine how the learning will happen. It will also determine what topics will be covered, in what order they'll be covered in, and what tools will be provided in order to achieve the most success. It's like setting the stage to your own educational show. All right, now that we have understood who our target audience is, we understand who we are designing for, which that would be our learners. We have begun the planning process. Now it's time to create. Okay. Think of it, again, we'll use the cooking metaphor. Whenever we cook, it's like we're adding all of our ingredients together, and that's our content. In a way, we put the content together where it's easy to digest for the learners, just like for your diners. And this could involve making slides, making videos, designing various interactive activities, anything that will make the learning experience the tastiest experience as possible for your learners. Now we test our design. Just like how a chef tests their food, let's delve into that. They might get feedback from different learners, or they may even do a trial run. The designer puts together all the ingredients, and that's your content. And they put it together in a way that makes it easy to digest. And this could involve making slides, creating different presentations, or even creating various activities where the learners can be interactive with the content. So, now that we've created, it's time to test. Just like how a chef tastes their food before they serve it to the diners, the designer is going to test the instructional material before it's released to the learners. This might involve getting feedback from the learners or doing a different trial run period. Either way, the results are going to be evaluated before they are released. And then whenever they are released, that is the big moment of delivery. That is when the designer serves up the learning experience to the audience. And this could be in a classroom, this could be online, any form of distance learning, or it could be a mixture of both. And then that's when we get our feedback. And that typically comes after the meal. Just like how you would leave a comment card at a restaurant, well, this is where you would leave feedback for the designer. And this is where the learning experience truly takes into effect. It's time to see how it went. Did people enjoy it? Did they learn everything they needed to learn? The designer collects all feedback and then improves for the next time. And then there's our refining period. And this is all based on the feedback. The designer tweaks things for an even better experience for the next time around. It's like adjusting the recipe to form your perfect dish. So there you have it. Thank you for listening. I am Victoria Larsen with Larsen Designs.